What up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Funboxing with Will. I am your host Will with H2O Co. Film and Photo, and today we're going to be doing another EDC knife review on a pocket folder that unfortunately is not one that I recommend anybody picking up because of some safety hazards with it. So it's not very often that happens, but we're going to get into this review. It is of the Twoson TS224 Viper. So it's a Jerry Jelly design, and let's get into that review. Alrighty guys, before we get into the review, I just want to take a moment out, as always, to thank every one of you who've come by this channel just to check it out, or if you've subscribed and you watch all of my videos. I appreciate you guys. Here on this channel, I try to do a lot of tech reviews and EDC knife reviews. It's been a minute since I've done a knife review, so I'm trying to build up my playlist currently. That's why I've been putting out so many as of late. But I just appreciate all of my viewers, and if you find anything in this video at all informative or interesting, please hit that like and subscribe button and turn on those bell notifications to get notified when I put out new content. I do apologize if I sound a little under the weather. I am currently congested and I have some type of a sinus thing going on, so I apologize for, you're gonna have to bear with me and my voice as we go over this knife. But let's get into the TS224 Viper by Twoson and check out why it's not, unfortunately, something that I'd recommend for people to purchase. So let's get over to that top-down view. Alrighty guys, now that we're here at the top-down setup, we can take a look at this TS224 Viper by Twoson. Now, generally, I try to be very honest in my reviews, and so I'm not going to lie about a product, and if I don't like something about a product, I'm definitely going to let other people know about that. And fortunately, there's not very many products, because I think it lends to the fact that I try to do my due diligence in researching the products I buy beforehand. It's very rare that I buy something that I end up not liking in the end. So it just doesn't happen very often that I review things that I don't like. But that's not to say that if I do see something about some product that I'm reviewing that I don't appreciate, that I'm not going to bring it to everyone's attention, which is the case here with this knife. I want to preface this by saying I do not know if this is just a problem with this particular my knife, or if it's a problem that they have with every model of this particular knife. But I cannot recommend this knife for anyone to purchase, unfortunately, and that's really sad, because there's so many great things about this knife that I'm going to get into right now, that it makes it even that much more disappointing to see the safety hazard with this knife, which is basically the spine has an opening here that is way too wide. The blade comes pretty much level with the spine, and there has been multiple times that I have reached into my pocket to grab this knife, slid my hand down the spine of this knife, and just barely, a little bit of meat gets in that little gap, and it slices my fingers wide open. I work with my hands a lot, so I kind of have rough hands, but I've sliced my hand open 2 or 3 times, and I can feel the blade with ease all the way up to about this point right here. So from here up the blade, if you touch your hand in that gap right by the flipper, you're gonna slice your finger open, and that is a safety issue that makes this knife uncarryable for me. And if you can't carry it, you're never going to use it. If you can't use it, it won't cut anything. Then it's a useless tool. So, and I won't even sell this because of that hazard issue. I would be worried that whoever I sold it to would injure themselves. So, but as I said, this is a great design other than that one issue. And there's so many good things about this design. If you heard my last video, I talked about how good Twosun, their knives are, their fit and finish and everything. And I do stand by that as a general consensus. This is the one exclusion that I have found in their knives. And I've handled quite a few of their knives. So we're going to get into the specs of this knife real quick. It is coming in at a length, closed length of 4.5 inches exactly. We're going to have a open length, overall total length of 8 inches. So this is going to be definitely a medium-sized knife with a cutting edge of about 1.5 inches on this. It's a compound grind, so you have about 1.5 inches of cutting space here and then 2.5 inches here. I've already tested this, which leads me to believe a total cutting circumference of about 4 inches. I don't know if that's how math works, but in my mind, that's how it works. So I'm saying this is a 4-inch blade in all because of how much cutting edge you have. Now, overall, it's an 8-inch knife. Do with those measurements what you will. Comparison to a Hogue Ritter, there it is next to a Benchmade bug out right here. Then next to a Hogue Deca. Next to a Para 3. And then lastly, we're going to set it up next to an Andrew Demko 82.20.5. So as I said, it is, I have a large glove hand, and it is very much to me a medium-sized knife to a full-size, medium to full-size knife. You know, it's not overbuilt, but it's pretty narrow, it's pretty thin. But it is a very long knife. You've got some reach with this baby. So then getting into the materials, it is made with TC4 titanium alloy that has a 3D milling here that is just precision with all of their milling they do. It's just great mill work. They have a milled clip. And if you look, they did an amazing job with this cutout for the liner lock here. It's so super thin. And then they put in, as usual, they put in a steel liner lock that doubles as an over travel stop there so that you can't really over disengage the knife when you're unlocking it, which is good. And it also prevents wear on the lock interface from changing the lockup over time. Another great thing they've done with this knife is they've put the internal stop pins on a track on the inside there so that you don't actually see a stop pin in the back of the knife. It also leads to greater stability and reductions in side-to-side play there. So aesthetically, this knife is beautiful. Everything about it is put together so well that having that one flaw in it that I talk about is just so frustrating. Weight-wise, we're looking at, I want to say about 4 ounces here. Let's see if I'm accurate. 4.037 ounces, so that's coming in perfect with that 1 ounce per inch of steel rule on the weight. It's a very well balanced knife. If you ergonomically, it melts in your hand almost just like my Harsey folder. It's got great ergonomics, and the balance point is right on the finger choil where you would naturally place your finger in a saber grip. So it's got perfect balance, perfect everything except for that safety issue. And then surprisingly, even though it does have a pretty thick blade stock, I'll get into the blade stock measurements here. Let me turn this on and zero this out. So even though it does have a fairly thick blade stock at its thickest point, coming in at a 0.1465, and it's really robust behind the tip. Surprisingly, it comes down to a very thin edge. Behind the edge, you're looking at only about 0.0520 behind the edge. So that's not the sliciest edge I've ever seen on a knife, but for the compound grind that this has and for the geometry of this blade, it is pretty darn slicey. And again, it's so sad to see that one safety issue. But that's about it for the review today, guys, of the TS224 Viper. All around great knife, but unfortunately just not something I could suggest anyone purchasing because of this issue. I am interested to see if other people are having the same issue or if this is just a flaw in my model. So if you own one of these knives, or if you've done a review, please go ahead and comment in the comments below. And I'm going to go ahead and link this in the description regardless of my suggestions on whether or not you should buy this, just as I do all the products that I do review on. So other than that, that's it for this review today, guys. Let's get back over to that desktop setup. Alrighty guys, and that's it for today's review. Again, I just want to say thank you for all of those who came and just checked out this video. If you found it at all interesting or informative, please hit that like and subscribe button and turn on those bell notifications to get notified when I put out new content. Other than that, until next time, I hope you all stay safe and stay creative, my friends. We need more of that in this world. Until next time.